keep in mind, guys, although they may say that they don't like Netanyahu, you have to understand that they are in support of the genocide. They just don't like the prime minister. I mean, you gotta. He's not only running the genocide; he also has all the shit that he's doing in, what do you call it, in Israel. So just because they're saying that, oh, we don't like him, guess what? If the next guy come who is say, hey, I'm in support of continuing dropping bombs on Palestinian, but just vote me in, they will still vote him in as long as they can get rid of Netanyahu. So just because they say they don't like him, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are against the genocide, because there's a lot of them that are, that don't like Netanyahu, but they are in support of the genocide because they believe that that whole entire land needs to be cleansed. That whole place needs to be completely rid of Palestinian because they claim that it was given to them over 3,000 years ago. Thank you so much for coming here. So, Myron Gaines. Myron confront Nelk on the truth about Israel. Let's get it.
Gaines has joined the chat.
What's up, guys?
Myron, how you doing, bro?
I seen you in Miami. We dabbed each other up, and then next thing I know, you seen us kissing the wall, and I don't know if we're still friends or not.
Ah, man.
So as you're watching this, right, understand that he is not one of them boys. He's one of them boys. So people are making the claim that he went and kissed the wall because this guy right here told him to do so.
Dude, look, I'm not going to knock you guys too hard like Hassan. Well, let me start off with this.
No, he didn't knock us. He didn't knock us that hard.
Nah, bro, he was been trying to fucking son you guys the whole time, dude. He's such a fucking cocky dickhead. Like, look, you guys didn't know what you got into. It's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? Instead of coming in and trying to be a pompous fucking prick, what he should have done was kind of like educate you guys on the dark history of Israel and why Netanyahu is such a fucking scumbag versus trying.
Seriously, dude, educate yourself on the history of Israel. Like, so much. You will be like, oh my God, how in the world did this state was able to, convince the American people for so long? It's like these people are just evil, bro.
Trying to come in like a dickhead. So I'll keep it nice and simple for you guys. Here's the problem. Jews run America and they use their influence to subvert our government, our culture, and get us
straight to the point.
Wars. They claim to be our greatest ally when they're really not. They were involved in 9/11. They got a U.S. president killed.
Don't go conspiracy theories, Myron.
Wait.
No conspiracy
Back
theories
that up,
right now.
because 9/11 is my favorite conspiracy. How are they involved in 9/11?
Sure, and it's not a conspiracy theory. I'm going to go through with you guys with what's the real deal.
Well, wait, Myron. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but let's start with what we're talking about now is having Netanyahu on the podcast. So let's start there.
Okay.
What's your opinion on that?
Just your overall opinion. Us having a world leader on, as we said.
Look, he's a war criminal, bro. He's currently wanted by the ICC. He's killed. We know 50,000 confirmed, but other estimates put it at around 330,000. Harvard came out with this number because in Gaza there's a lot of people buried under the rubble. So there's all kinds of shit going on when it comes to him.
Right. Are you so what's your opinion on us just having him on? Do you think we should have not had him on?
Well, look, my thing is, I think if you guys have him on, okay, so I'm going to Monday morning quarterback this. Like, let's say you guys had Netanyahu on, and then you had someone that was like critical of Zionism on, and you guys dropped the interview on the same day, that would have been great. Like, if y'all had done his interview, then done somebody else, then dropped both interviews same day, you guys would be getting.
Well, we're gonna drop it next.
That, and also if they were to ask the hard hitting questions, perhaps that would also put them in a little bit of a favorite light. But again, they asked this war criminal what's his favorite fast food restaurant. Meanwhile, he's commanding the IOF to drop bombs on innocent people, by the way.
We're going to drop it next episode.
Yeah, but like...
It's not our first... Bro, it's not our first time getting backlash. And I understand it. And it's... You know what? It's rightfully so. I understand how passionate and touchy of an issue this is. And I don't necessarily disagree with their perspective. I understand, but from our point of view... Like we've said, and I'll tell you again, but with the Full Send podcast, we're going to have everyone on. We're going to ask them questions, and we're going to leave it up to the viewer. I think people give us too much credit just because we have someone on and they sit beside the Nelk boys. Our audience isn't going to fucking go like, oh my God, I love that person now because they fucking went on the Full Send podcast. No, our audience is actually, they're fucking smart. Everyone watching right now is fucking smart. They're not idiots. Just because Netanyahu comes on our pod and sits beside us and we ask him questions, they're not going to instantly go like, oh my God, I love this guy now. And this episode is a perfect example of that. Go read the fucking comments. Again, people doesn't look like we did him a great service. It looks like we had him on and...
Okay, well, let's hear Myron's response to
that.
But
I want people to know that.
Yeah, no. Look, bro, I'm for free speech. I'm a free speech absolutist. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to sit here and knock you guys for having him. I'm just saying the reason why people are pissed off is because he kind of just came in there and just lied the whole time and exaggerated stuff. Talking
Right.
about
Okay,
burning
wait.
But
babies.
I think people saw right through that.
Myron, I think you're actually wrong. I think people didn't even watch the episode and they're just upset with the fact that we had him on in the first place.
100%.
Well, I watched it and he lied to y'all about a bunch of shit. So that's kind of what it is. Like, I know Hassan
I watched a little bit of it.
didn't watch it, so he's over here lecturing like a fucking dickhead, but I actually watched the interview. You lied about a bunch of shit. Like, for example, one of the things he lied about was like, oh, they were burning babies alive. That's not true. A lot of the shit that happened on October 7th was a lie. There was no mass rapes. There was no beheaded babies.
Whoa. Really?
Oh, yeah, dude. Like that's, bro. He fucking was just saying, look, if you guys want me to really go through this, I can. But a lot of the
You guys have to understand that they came up with all these lies to try to, make the Palestinian look as evil as possible. So that way, when they go through with the genocide that's going on right now, you, as the American people, have no sympathy for them. That was the whole point of just spewing nothing but lies.
stuff that went down on October 7th was sensationalized and a fucking lie. Look at your chat. They know I'm telling the truth.
Let me see.
Look at your chat right now. A lot of the shit that went down on October 7th was a fucking lie. And most people don't have the balls to fucking call this shit out, dude. There was no beheaded babies, no babies in ovens.
Okay.
Mass rapes were a lie. Look at your chat, bro.
But murders happened?
They're saying facts, but
Murders happened or no murders?
chill.
No, murders happened, but
Yeah.
it's very important for you guys to understand how the murders went down. So there were 1,200 people that died on that day, right? 400 of those people that were killed were IDF soldiers, which by international law means they are enemy combatants and they're fair game. Next was about 800 people died. Now, this is the part that no one wants to talk about. The 800 that died, right, that were civilians, we'll also keep in mind that everyone in Israel has to join the IDF at some point and do service. So you can make the argument that they're enemy combatants, but that's fine. Let's go with 800 civilians, right? Those 800 civilians, we don't know who Hamas killed versus who the IDF killed. Now, I know you guys are probably saying, like, yo, what the fuck? The reason for that, guys, is there was a controversial directive activated that day called the Hannibal Directive. The Hannibal Directive is authorization from the government to kill Israeli citizens and or soldiers when they're about to be kidnapped by Palestinian militias. And the reason why they do this is so they don't end up in a position where they have to exercise diplomacy and do hostages exchanges. They learned this with a guy back in 2006 named Gilad Shalit. So what Hamas did when they went in there, the goal was to get as many hostages as possible to negotiate the release of Palestinian prisoners that are in Israel. Again, I'm not here to condone their behavior, but I'm here to tell you guys why they did the said behavior and what really went down and what the intention was. So when we talk about the 800 Israelis that were killed, innocent people were killed. I'm not refuting that. But what I will say is a lot of those innocent people that were killed by the IDF. How do we know this? Because they were shot by Apache helicopters with Hellfire missiles. Hamas doesn't have that. There was some of them in the kibbutzes, which is their homes.
I mean,
They were
Myron,
shot
this
with
is
tanks.
crazy now. We're going conspiracy theories.
This is not conspiracy theories, bro. This is 100% fact.
Because didn't,
Matter of
but
fact,
didn't on October 7th, Hamas captured American citizens as well, right?
yeah, they had like a couple U.S. citizens, but they just got one of
We
the guys
can't.
back.
We just went at. I'm gonna let you speak, but we just went at Hassan for hypotheticals and conspiracies, so we gotta just keep that same energy. Now, I want to tell you one.
You guys have to understand, because I've seen a lot of video of Myron Gaines explaining this, and he went ahead and fact checked some of these stuff, right? A lot of these are not conspiracy theory. Although, yes, they, you won't hear Benjamin Netanyahu or any report saying that, they use the Hannibal Directive, but Yoav Gallant himself, he was a ex defensive minister. He came out and said, yes, we used the Hannibal Directive on October 7th. You probably didn't hear about it because they don't want you to know this. A lot of people probably did hear about it, but they have no idea what the Hannibal Directive is. So it's not a conspiracy theory. This is literally what happened.
One thing. Wait.
And then the other one with the unaliving of the 40 babies. Have you noticed that they don't even mention that anymore? Because it already done the they've already done the damage. At the beginning, when they started, it was everywhere, and then they use that as a justification to drop bombs on innocent people.
I'm gonna tell you really quick.
Yo,
You
yeah,
watched the
bro,
podcast.
bro,
Wait,
hold on.
Myron.
Hear
We
me
went
out,
at
hear me out.
Netanyahu for. Okay, go ahead.
Hear me out. Everything I just told you, I got from Israeli media. When I'm talking about the people that were killed, the Hannibal Directive that was activated that day, their defense minister, a guy named Yoav Gallant, admitted on October 7th the Hannibal Directive was activated, which means they killed innocent civilians. IDF did this because they didn't want them to get kidnapped. Okay? And none of this stuff is a conspiracy theory. Another thing, this comes from the Israel Times. They could have got the hostages back on October 10th. But guess what? They didn't want to get the hostages back because he wanted to bomb the fuck out of Gaza and invade. Because he used what happened on October 7th as an excuse to perpetrate a war against the entire Middle East. Because Israel wants to create the Greater Israel Project and expand territory.
Right. So I'm gonna tell you this, and you said you watched the pod. I don't know about everything you just said, but I will tell you that one of the things that we did press Netanyahu on is, as you know, IDF being one of probably the best military out there besides USA, is that they allowed October 7th to.
They suck. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. IDF are not that big of a They're not.
Happen completely unacceptable if you're the IDF. If you're Netanyahu to allow that to happen, there's no merit or no understanding of why that happened and how you're not.
Because you guys have to understand, right? The majority of the damage that has been caused in Gaza is because of bomb drop. It's not because of hand-to-hand combat. So you saying that the IDF is, a really strong army and stuff like that, they're not. The majority of the people who died is because bomb is dropping on them. They cannot fight Hamas hand-to-hand combat. I can tell you that right now. They can't do it.
Prepared for that. Why the response took so long. So with that, I agree with you that there is something there that's missing. In the fact that how are you not prepared for a situation like that when you're prepared for everything else?
Sorry, and also keep in mind that they also use Palestinian as human shield. Like this has all been documented. From one of the video that I've seen, they literally took a Palestinian, hung him on the front of a vehicle, and drove with him. They did all of these things. For people who are so smart and so strong, why would they do that? Why not fight hand-to-hand combat? They can't.
I'll agree with you on that.
Well, here's the thing. There's people out there that say that they think Netanyahu allowed this to happen.
Yes.
And
I think that's what Hassan said, or maybe Nick. Somebody said that earlier.
Yeah. I kind of agree with Nick on that. And let's just go through why. Okay. Instead of us saying, oh, he let it happen, let's go over what happened and how he benefited. So after October 7th happened, it's very important that you guys know that he's in the middle of a corruption trial right now for bribery, right? So he was in the middle of getting prosecuted and going to court for this crime. What ended up happening was when October 7th happened, he was able to consolidate all the power and avoid the trial, and the criminal investigation was suspended because they were in active war. So what he was able to do was he invaded Gaza. Once he invaded Gaza and killed Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas at the time, then they invaded Lebanon. Then after they invaded Lebanon, there was a ceasefire that happened that led to the downfall of Syria. After Syria was toppled, then they launched Operation Rising Lions. And then they used the U.S. to bomb the Houthis. So this was all a systematic plan that is helping Netanyahu stay in power while simultaneously allowing him to get into wars to expand Israel. This is all about regime change and effectuating destabilization all across the Middle East. This is what they've been doing for a very long time. That's his intention, and that's what went down. So he benefited a lot from October 7th. This is why so many people believe that he allowed it to happen or stood down.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time there's been like a false flag in order to start a war. So I wouldn't rule that out.
Wait, but Myron, what were your other biggest takeaways from the interview?
Well, the other thing also is that he didn't talk about why Hamas attacked, right? I think it's very important to understand why your adversaries hate you, right? And the thing in American media that we don't do enough of is we don't talk about how Israel constantly gets into wars, does false flags, bombs innocent people, destabilizes Middle Eastern countries, and the reason why they're able to engage in this reckless foreign policy is because they know that the United States is going to back them unequivocally.
So keep this in mind, right? I don't know if he's going to go over this, but just in case he doesn't, I'm just going to go and lay it out for you. One of the reasons that Hamas attacked on October 7th is because Saudi Arabia was getting ready to sign the Abraham Accord with Israel. If that was to be signed, they would no longer, Palestinian would not, the protection that they have and stuff like that, it would diminish extremely. And so they went ahead and sabotaged the whole deal. And so to this day, they haven't signed the Abraham Accord yet.
And the reason why we back them so much is because we have rich Zionists and high levels of power in the United States across different sections. There's a reason why talking about this topic gets you in trouble and or banned. It's probably one of the most taboo topics, especially before October 7th. It's why I got demonetized talking about Israel and Jewish power in America. They run this shit. And for you to call it out, there's, oh, that's anti-Semitic. No, it's realistic.
Yeah. So
yeah, and so I also kind of looked into it, right? I mean, if you really think about it, right? Music industry, they run that. The movie industry, I've seen some videos, and trust me, they run that too. Obviously they've taken over the government. I mean, the people that are sitting in there, they may not be necessarily from Israel, but in reality, they're all Baba AIPAC, so they are pretty much voting in favor of, that state. What else can you name? What do they not run? Honestly, like, what is there that they don't run? All in all, let me just tell you that they've taken control of the major powers. Oh, one of the biggest one, BlackRock, manages trillions of dollars. Trillions. Yeah, they run that too.
I don't know if Steiny told you, but yeah, what we're going to do next episode, and we were already planning to do this even before this episode came out, was we want to find a really good person to have that represents, the opposite side. And that's going to be the next episode of the Full Send Podcast.
I'm going to tell you right now, dude. I'm going to tell you right now, me and Nick are by far the best at this. No one comes close because everyone is too pussy to call out the real problems. Because here's the thing, right?
But Myron, we want
Guys-
someone that's there.
What was that?
Someone not in America.
Someone non-American?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think
Well,
that
I mean-
makes it difficult.
What do you mean makes what makes
Well,
it
we're not
difficult?
ruling.
Okay, but no, I want to get somebody who is American. If you get somebody who's not American, what if the English is not really good? Because I can name some people that would be really good to ask about this whole thing. You know what? Why not just make it somebody who is not a Palestinian but knows their history? People like, I don't know, Derek Cooper.
Anyone out, but we're just gonna, yeah, we'll talk to people. We're gonna talk to a lot of our Palestinian friends. We have a lot
Yeah,
of them
sure.
too.
I mean,
a lot of
if
UFC
you wanna
fighters
get,
that we're close with and got their opinions.
Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, if you want to get like a Palestinian perspective, that's cool. But what I'm saying is,
Okay, wait,
Wait,
Myron.
bro,
Myron, we're seeing a breaking news, a tweet. LMFAO having Nelk interview Netanyahu is like Ted Bundy doing a podcast with a woman. These dudes are fucking retarded.
Wow, Myron.
But here you are.
Yeah,
I
was
thought
retarded.
I thought
But
we were
wait, so
homies.
how are you any different?
You
than
didn't say
him?
that was retarded. You said we're retarded.
Because you're using the platform, right? Just like, I'll give you the chance, but I'm just saying.
no, that was retarded to have him on. It was.
Would you not interview him if you had the opportunity?
Well, here's the thing. Like I said before, I told y'all, if I was gonna go interview Netanyahu, I would have interviewed someone else that opposes Israel's government.
Well, we're gonna
and
do
I would
that.
have interviews on the same
We're gonna
day.
do that.
You can't do that at the same time. It's really hard.
We can handle backlash for a
Bro.
week.
Bro.
In my personal opinion, I think they should leave it to the real journalists who ask actual hard-hitting questions. If I was given the opportunity to interview that dude, I wouldn't interview him. Because I'm not going to lie to you, my knowledge in that whole aspect is not as solid as, people like Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I would say leave such major situation like this in the hands of actual journalists because they will ask the hard-hitting question to actually get the truth out there. Instead, these guys sat there like a bunch of, idiots and then just let this war criminal went on a freaking 2-hour tangent. How long was it? It was like an hour and 30 to 2-hour long tangent about, how he's the victim, even though he's the one that's dropping bombs on innocent people.
Let's be
With
100% honest here.
Netanyahu,
You
Myron.
guys, let's be 100% honest, not bullshit. You guys didn't think you were gonna get this much backlash, and now you're
No,
damage control.
bro, are you crazy?
Like,
We
what
knew
it
this.
is.
Why did
Myron, can I tell you? I'll be honest. Like I said on the pod, I'm not the most educated on this. When we
Yeah,
got
that's fine.
when we got the opportunity, I started asking my Jewish friends, and I was like, "Yo, we're gonna have Netanyahu on the pod. Like, what do you think?" And they're like, "Bro, I fucking hate him." And then I asked another person, and they said the same thing. And then I'm like, "Oh, what do your parents think about him?" They're like, "Oh, they don't like him." So that's when I really knew. I was like, "Dude, this guy is the most hated man on the planet."
Keep in mind, guys, although they may say that they don't like Netanyahu, you have to understand that they are in support of the genocide. They just don't like the prime minister. I mean, he's not only running the genocide, he also has all the shit that he's doing in, in Israel. So just because they're saying that, oh, we don't like him, guess what? If the next guy come who will say, hey, I'm in support of continuing dropping bombs on Palestinian, but just vote me in, they will still vote him in as long as they can get rid of Netanyahu. So just because they say they don't like him, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are against the genocide, because there's a lot of them that are, that don't like Netanyahu, but they are in support of the genocide because they believe that that whole entire land needs to be cleansed. That whole place needs to be completely rid of Palestinian because they claim that it was given to them over 3,000 years ago. There was a poll that was done on this.
And I realized that before we did the interview. Myron, this is not a shock to us at all, whatsoever. We actually posted. I posted on my Instagram story. You could check. We were going live on Kick before we dropped this pod.
No, I know
Yeah.
you guys were. But what I am saying is,
The hate is not a surprise whatsoever.
so yeah, what I was saying before, bro, is basically the reason why a lot of people don't like Netanyahu is obviously he's committing a bunch of war crimes. And the other reason why people are pissed off is because Israel claims to be our greatest ally, but they've been involved in a bunch of bullshit. They've stolen nukes from us. They were involved in 9/11. They had foreknowledge it was going to happen. This is all declassified information. It's not a conspiracy theory, contrary to what people tell you. The guy that owned the building got the biggest insurance payout ever, and he's a close friend of Netanyahu. They were involved in assassination of John F. Kennedy because he tried to take their nukes away. Like, this is all factual stuff that's come out from declassified documents. And we give these guys an enormous amount of aid, and then they drag us into foreign wars. Like Iraq, for example, in 2003, we had no business over there. Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with Osama bin Laden. We ended up in fucking Iraq, and 1 million people died. For what? Wars for Israel. Because Israel has a reckless foreign policy that we back that Netanyahu's been a part of for the past 30 years, where we drag Americans into conflict for no fucking reason. And they have way too much influence in our government with AIPAC and not even have to register an affair. So that's why so many people have issues with Netanyahu and the Zionist lobby in America.
Myron, my quick question to you is that
Makes sense.
Do you have a problem with, how do you separate having a problem with Jews and having a problem with Israel?
Sure, that's a good question. So there are people, right, that have been vocal about this that are Jewish, right? There's people like Max Blumenthal, Dave Smith, Norman Finkelstein. You know, there's a bunch of people that talk about this stuff, and they talk about the atrocities and the bad foreign policy, Jeffrey Sachs, etc. A lot of intellectuals. But I think the important thing that people need to understand is that most Zionists are actually evangelical Christians, right? But most Jews are Zionists. So this is why, you know, you run into the problems that you have. Now, every Jew is a Zionist. A lot of them are actually, you know, anti-Israel, which is great. But it's not about having a problem with Jews. It's about having a problem with Zionists. It just so happens that most Zionists tend to be Jewish.
Okay, because I think that's a big problem, especially on the internet, is that everyone at this point is grouping two and two together. And I think that there's a differentiator between being Israeli and being an American Jew. And like your buddy, like you're never gonna turn down a collab from Aiden Ross, right?
Yeah, I'm cool with Aiden. But like, again, Aiden's not committing a genocide right now. Like,
For sure.
It's not the same, you know what I mean? It's a completely different situation. And again, like I said before, it's a very sensitive topic. People are terrified to talk about it for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we're going to go ahead and really have this discussion, I think people need to understand that Israel is not our greatest ally like they claim. And we give them way too much money and they're dropping bombs on kids and they make us look bad. And they don't deal with accountability for their reckless foreign policy ever.
All right, Myron, we appreciate you, bro. We're gonna break.
So yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit from this. Later.